Hello, it is me, ya boy Luxon. It is currently very late at night, and Monolith Soft was like, hey, it's our 25th anniversary. We're going to release some cool things about that. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. I should do a video talking about this stuff. But also, I want to get it done tomorrow. And by tomorrow, I mean today, because it is already past midnight. I just want this done. I have a massive Trails video I was working on tonight as well, and have to put on the back burner for this thing. So we're gonna do this in maximum scuff mode, just screen recording, my browser talking about this stuff, and it'll be edited down a little bit, and have some music behind it, and that's all we're gonna get. I think there are going to be some spoilers for Xenoblade, all of them, but other than that, we're good to go. So, we're here just right now on Monolith Soft's website, and there's nothing big here. If you scroll down a little bit, hey, Tears of the Kingdom came out fairly recently, Future Redeemed came out fairly recently. If we go here, hey look, here's some concept art from Xenoblade 3. Hey, I talked about this before, Monolith Soft 25th anniversary, what could that mean? Well, it is Monolith Soft's 25th anniversary. They were founded on October 1st, 1999, and it is October 1st, 2024, in which I'm recording it. And hey, you might recognize some of these characters, and you might not recognize some of these characters, which is even cooler. So, special page for the anniversary, and I found that if you refresh this, the characters on the banner change every single time. So like, we got the Bat and Kaitos 1 characters, a bunch of Xenoblade 2 people, and then Shulk just in the middle. But if we refresh it now, not only did it turn blue, we got Future Redeemed Rex over here, Palas is still here, we got a different Shulk, we got regular Shulk from Xenoblade 1, and then D.E. Melia here, which is crazy. D.E. Fiora, I didn't even notice that. And then Elma and just Rex looks very small, because he is very small. So that's cool. And I'm just going to auto-translate all of this. I did not mean just that. Translating the entire page into English. Because we have a message from Hirohide Sugiura, who, if you watched my previous video about the new Takahashi recruitment thing, and about Project Legacy, you would know who this guy is. And why he is the one giving this thing. It's not Takahashi, because Takahashi is not in charge of Monolith Soft as a whole, and has not been involved in every single Monolith Soft project. Sugiura is credited on basically everything Monolith has developed since the start. So, he is the best person to talk about all 25 years. Monolith Soft is pleased to announce its 25th anniversary. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to all of you who have played and enjoyed the games we have released, to all the people involved who have helped us create our games, including our partner companies and external creators, and to our staff and their families. I love the fact that he is referencing external people outside of Monolith Soft, because there's the big story about Xenoblade 2, and how they had to get people because there were only 60 Monolith developers left working on it. And that's cool and all, but you have to remember that that type of desperation situation isn't the only time Monolith has development partners. They have external people working on every single thing. Xenoblade 3 was fully staffed and not rushed, and it still had outsourced things. And then there's stuff like cutscene animation, which while I believe some storyboarding is done in-house, and the writing of the dialogue is definitely done by Monolith teams, some of the writers are hired, and Studio Graphinica is the studio that actually does the animations, and they're a full-blown anime studio who works on like TV productions and movies primarily, instead of just games. And that's cool and all, but he's also mentioning development partners. So obviously partner companies include Nintendo, and external creators are like other artists, even Saito and Choco, like the biggest Xeno artists you know of, are not Monolith Soft employees. And he's almost certainly referencing Bamco here as well, because their credits are plastered all over this 25th anniversary stuff, as we'll see later. Looking back, 25 years have seemed long but short at the same time. There were many twists and turns, but I feel that the results of facing and overcoming various problems one by one have led to where we are today. Since our founding in October 1999, our staff has grown significantly. That is very true. We now have 3 development bases. Woo! Okay, so there is the Zelda team, who is working with Nintendo EPD in Kyoto. There is the other EPD support team. Those are the guys who keep working on Animal Crossing and Splatoon. They're less gameplay developers and more asset designers for a lot of other Nintendo games. And then there is the Takahashi RPG team that is in Monolith's actual headquarters in Tokyo. I might have the positioning of the AC Splatoon team wrong. They might also be in Monolith HQ in Tokyo, but we now have 3 development bases, and we've worked on many major titles, but at the same time, I don't think I have been able to feel fully satisfied with having succeeded or achieved anything. This is something I will continue to pursue as long as Monolith Soft exists, and is probably something I will never be able to achieve in the future. You guys thought Takahashi was the only extremely ambitious person who's never fully satisfied, at a high up position in this company. No, they are all like this. This is why we keep getting peak from these people. Everyone involved is in the business of pushing the envelope and making the best thing possible, because the cool thing you can think of in your head is always going to be better than what you can make in the real world, so it's always worth chasing that dream and trying to get something even cooler the next time. This is why they make good games, because from the top down, they're always thinking about the next amazing game they want to make. Remember, Monolith Soft is the company where Tetsuya Takahashi had an idea on the subway. He called up Hone to make the statues of the Bionis and Mechonis, the original thing for the Xenoblade series. And then was like, hey, morale is low after Xenosaga 3 didn't do too well. Let's make a JRPG masterpiece. And then Monolith went out and actually did that, and now we have a Xenoblade series. These are the people we're working with here, and this is why I'm so dedicated to almost everything they make now. If Monolith Soft is to continue on in the future, it is still in its genesis stage. They have apparently only just begun 25 years in. We want the company's history to continue for 100, 200, even 500 years, so we want to strive for even higher quality without being satisfied with the status quo. We would like to thank you for your continued support in the future. And yes, they absolutely have continued support. So, yeah. Unchecked ambition sometimes goes bad places, but I feel like even the jankiest Monolith games, you have to respect what they were going for, and in a lot of cases, and by a lot of cases I mean Xenoblade 2, the jank that comes from not being able to fully realize the vision actually adds to the charm of their products in a lot of cases. So, they are pushing the envelope, not wanting to go with the status quo. They've been recruiting people for the RPG division because games take more people and more specialization to make now, because they're also going to be working on better hardware in the future. But they're also playing for the long game and wanting to create a solid basis for a studio that will exist hundreds of years in the future, when video games as a whole have not existed for 100 years period. Yeah. This is why other developers go bad and lose money and things, because they don't do this kind of thing. It's crazy. All you have to do is have a healthy work environment, keep trying to push the envelope, not be satisfied with the status quo, and, like, actually try to innovate in the video game space instead of chasing profits. Amazing how Monolith had this figured out 25 years ago, and nobody else seems to know what they're doing in current year 2024. Wow. Isn't the games industry fun? Like, I have no choice but to champion Monolith and buy everything they create, because they're one of the only studios out there still making video games well, and having an actual plan for what their next project is going to be after the current one. We're going to skip the movie for a second, because obviously I have it open on YouTube on another tab already, and move to the one thing that's kind of silly about all this, the present section. Obviously, Monolith doesn't really owe us, the consumer, anything besides the video games they've already given us, because those are some very good video games. But this part is, it's a little funny. Their special thing is 25 commemorative mobile wallpapers of various Monolith Soft games. Those sure are some PNGs slapped on an airbrushed gradient background with the logo on it. The only really interesting thing here is that some of them have different copyrights, and I tried opening these before. Oh, okay, this one actually opened quickly. So yeah, Xenosaga and Baten Kaitos both say that those are copyright of Bandai Namco. Yeah, this is how slow they were loading. This is why I'm not doing this for all of them, but suffice to say, Baten Kaitos just says that. Then here we have Somabringer 04. Yeah, the other ones have actual copyright. So if we go to Somabringer, it says copyright 2008 Nintendo Monolith Soft, and we can actually see who directly owns the copyright for these things. So Somabringer is owned by both Nintendo and Monolith. We go over here to Raymond Bryce from Disaster Day of Crisis. That just says Nintendo. So theoretically, Nintendo could make a Disaster 2 with another studio, which is very funny. And if you go here, you have Xenoblade 1 Shulk, who's just 2010 Nintendo Monolith Soft, and then Future Connected, or not even Future Connected, just the DE Shulk, DE Melia and DE Fiora all say 2010 to 2020. Interestingly, Future Connected is not represented at all. You'd think that with the second Shulk, they'd use Future Connected, or even with Melia, but no, you just get the 3 most important characters in Xenoblade 1 as a whole. And all of Xenoblade 2, say 2017. Where did Xenoblade X go? There should be X characters in here. Why are the X characters in between 2 and 3? That doesn't really make sense. I'm curious now. Okay, no. Laura and Jin, this art is from 2017, so it doesn't say 2018 for Torna. But Elma and Lynn, say 2015. And then, even more curious, everyone from Xenoblade 3 on just says copyright Nintendo Monolith Soft. I don't know why that is. Maybe because they're recent enough where they don't need to do something like that. But yeah, it's crazy. Future Redeemed gets an entire row to itself. Xenoblade 3 just gets 3 of them. Xenoblade 2 gets 4. Those are Torna reps there. Xenoblade X gets 2. Xenoblade 1 gets 4 of them. That's only because it had 2 releases. That Shulk wouldn't be there otherwise. And then Xenosaga only gets 2. Like, Future Redeemed gets as many wallpapers as Xenoblade X, Xenosaga, and Xenoblade 1, the original release combined. I think that's very funny. Anyway, also, this banner up here, as you might be able to tell here by the fact that we've got Future Redeemed Rex, Fiora, Melia, Velt from Somabringer, Elma, Xenoblade 2 Rex, Uni, Taion, Xenoblade 1 Shulk, and then Kalas from Vat and Kaitos. Yeah, those characters up there are just all of these, except the duos can be split. So I think there's like 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. There's 36 things up here. I'm not sure about like the Somabringer and Vat and Kaitos origin characters, but as far as I can tell, both Xenosaga 1 and Xenosaga 3, as well as OG Vat and Kaitos, these are the highest resolution official uploads of all this character art I've ever seen. Now, this is probably able to like actually be cut out from here and cleaned up and get the anniversary logo removed, especially for some of the characters where it's like not really even on them. Like, I mean, there's better versions of this Shulk, and like even the versions from the game are going to be higher quality than some of these. But up here, they're a lot more strictly cropped. They're just what you see here. If you go into the HTML and grab these WebP files, you can get some very high quality PNGs of some of these characters here. So if you check my Twitter, I already uploaded both the Xenosaga 1 and Xenosaga 3 Shion and Cosmos, as well as Raymond, Kalas, and Shella, just because I think I've seen Vat and Kaitos Origins art in higher resolution. I have no idea about Somabringer. I had to look up the names of these 2 characters, and that's about it there. Moving on to the video, though, first thing you're going to notice here is that this is uploaded on a small Nintendo channel with 35k subscribers. Now, this just says Nintendo, and then the katakana is home page in English, which is weird because if you click on this channel, it does not take you to a 35k subscriber Nintendo channel. If I clicked on this, this would redirect to Nintendo of America. So somehow they have this thing where they upload unlisted videos to, but it's a redirect to whatever your region's Nintendo is. Like, I'm wondering if I went on like YouTube UK, it would bring me to Nintendo UK instead, or if it's pulling this from my geographic data, or the fact that I'm logged into the Luxon channel, and because I get paid by YouTube, they know exactly where I live, and that is in fact in the US. So like, if I faked my address being in Japan, would clicking on this send me to Nintendo Japan? Is it off my IP? I don't know. I didn't know YouTube could do this, but that's kind of besides the point here. The main point of showing all of this off, though, is you have to remember, when you watch this video, that this is being uploaded on an official Nintendo channel. I love this Monolith Soft 25th anniversary logo. This is a new font. I don't think they've ever really used this before, although this might be the same one used in their logo, now that I think of it. And the 25 is very cool, though that might be a custom thing. So, first off, Future Awaits is playing, and it has Japanese subtitles. I'm going to assume, I have not double-checked this, though I will Google Lens this line immediately. I'm assuming that there's nothing special here. This is just a Japanese translation of the lyrics of Future Awaits, because I can't really think of anything else. Okay, so that says, with an anxious look. You're staring at me. So that is a very rough machine translation of what those 2 lines of Future Awaits are. But, yeah. We've got an AMV set to Future Awaits now. Make sure this is at max quality. Unfortunately, it's not in 4K. But you might have seen something already. Because we've got a light... This kind of looks like the birth of a universe, does it not? Except it's now all of space, with light motes and stars. And there are some stars flying through space. And that's Xenosaga Episode 1 footage on an official Nintendo YouTube channel. I wonder what that could mean. Anyway, you might notice that these are also all very blue colored. And from what I can tell, each of these clusters of motes represents 1 decade that Monolith Soft was in business. So it's the 2000s, because they didn't release any games in 1999 since they were formed 2 months before 1999 ended. Then the 2010s, and then the 2020s. So we got Xenosaga Episode 1 here. That's cool. And then I recognize this character because I played like 5 hours of the first Baten Kaitos. That is just the opening movie or just some FMVs from the original Baten Kaitos. So that's nice and cool. And then we have Xenosaga 2. Now, this is a catalog of Monolith Soft games, but this is not every game Monolith Soft touched. This is games that they were the primary developer on, listed formally, and also for IPs that they have access to. These are IPs that Monolith Soft created. So we're not going to see Breath of the Wild on here. We're not going to see Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans on here. We're not going to see their Super Robot Wars game on here. But we are going to see some other interesting stuff. So I got Xenosaga 2. I think it's very funny, by the way, that there is no Xenosaga 2 on here. We got 1 and 3, both Baten Kaitos games, Soma Bringer, Disaster Day of Crisis, and then just every Xenoblade, including doubling up on Xenoblade 1. Then here, they're not showing crossover characters, but that is the opening, or the OP to Namco Cross Capcom. Now we're not seeing, we're still, that's just Reiji and Xiaomu. We are not seeing any characters owned by anyone else throughout this entire section. I cannot tell what they're fighting here. That could be something from another series, but I have not played Namco Cross Capcom and is also barely able to even see that those sprites are supposed to be Reiji and Xiaomu as well. So, yeah. I think that's a very funny way to reference the crossover that they created, or they developed at least, with Bandai Namco, while also not showing off any other character. Like, they show the Xenosaga characters that were in that off, probably, but I think that's nice and cool. It's very entertaining to me. Unfortunately, we do not get any Cross-Zone or Namco Cross Capcom representation on here. Like, I would have... Get rid of one of the Shulks for Reiji and Xiaomu at the very least, because they show up in 2 games, but maybe they don't own the characters as much as they do the other ones. Then, I am going to assume that is Baten Kaitos Origins. Yeah, that looks like... Okay, yeah, that is Baten Kaitos engine text boxes. So that's Baten Kaitos Origins, which I don't think I realized came out before Xenosaga 3. And yeah, next up is Xenosaga 3. Mechs are cool. And then, bless whoever made this trailer for doing this, because it got a massive laugh out of me when I realized. One of the scenes from Xenosaga 3 they're taking, and this is not really a spoiler, this out of context, is like, alright, you got Cosmos in the background. Then you've also got characters whose designs are just younger Faye and Ellie from Xenogears. So Xenogears is not in this video at all. And this is for several reasons. Obviously, Monolith Soft does not have any rights to Xenogears whatsoever, which is why they have to keep subtly referencing it, and not so subtly referencing it, in their later games. Secondly, Square Enix is terrible at literally everything, so even if there was some kind of Monolith access to it, they would not let them do this, even in a small video like this. And then thirdly, Xenogears predates Monolith, but members of Xenogears staff leaving Square is what formed Monolith. So this scene specifically, including their Faye and Ellie lookalikes, is their little tribute to also Xenogears effectively being the 0th Monolith Soft game. Then we've got the ending of Future Redeemed here. I don't know why they put that so early on in the Xenosaga 3 section, when that's from the most recent thing they've made. I have played like the very beginning of Soma Bringer in a translation patch. I definitely want to go back and do that again, because that is like the last game that Soraya Saga did a lot of writing for, and I'd be very interested to see that, because I like a lot of her writing in the Xeno games, and it is to the detriment of every Xenoblade game that she's not involved in them. So hopefully if Xenosaga makes a comeback, she will as well. So there's your Soma Bringer stuff. I don't think I recognize that boss. And then moving on to a different cluster, going from the other direction, Disaster Day of Crisis. Now, if we remember from here, why does this need to load again? Okay, whatever. If we zoom way in on here, that is an 08 game, so maybe it's not necessarily calendar decade, but Monolith Soft decade of operation, because if they formed in 99, this is close-ish to their 10-year. But either way, that is one majestic man. I would have loved to actually get to play this video game. Hopefully this gets re-released someday. Like, if they're referencing Soma Bringer and Day of Crisis in addition to the Xeno games and the thing that just got re-released, maybe there's hope for these as well, and not just Xenosaga. Anyway. So we got that. And then the strength to carry on. When the Xenogears flute comes in Future Awaits, we cut to the thing that saved Monolith Soft. Not really. The thing that made Monolith Soft a household name. Not really. The thing that Monolith Soft is most known for. And the thing that saved the JRPG genre. I think I could safely say that. Xenoblade Chronicles 1. And I think it's very funny that they're, like, only showing very early cutscenes for Xenoblade 1. Like, that is pre-Ether Mines only. And then, there is Project Cross Zone 1. I don't know the names of any of the OCs from that game, but that's them from the opening. And then, very, very neatly here, we cut to Cosmos fighting a Gnosis, so we can show that off. Now, we do also see Fiora here. I believe this bubble is actually to represent both Cross Zone games. Before this we have Xenoblade 1, and after this we're going to see Xenoblade X. Cross Zone 1 released in 2012, after Xenoblade 1. Cross Zone 2 released in February 2015 in Japan, and Xenoblade X released, I want to say April or May. So both of those games were in between Xenoblades 1 and X, and I guess it's redundant to include everything there, because, like, Reiji and Xiaomu are the main characters of Cross Zone 2, and we already saw them in Namco Cross Capcom. They're going to give Xenoblade 1 special treatment and show off both 1 and DE, but either way, I'm assuming those are the main two OCs from Cross Zone 1. And then, I don't know specifically if this shot of Cosmos is taken from 1 or 2. This Fiora has to be from 2, because that's the only game she's in. I think those are two different animations, but yeah, so both Cross Zone games are represented at once. And then we have Xenoblade X content in the year of our Lord 2024. Very weird set of scenes they chose to show off, though. I guess that's a very iconic one, so that makes sense. There's like blue and gold things in the background, but the only ones we're paying it, and there are other green ones out there too. Like, we never get zoomed in on those, so maybe those are other games Monolith Soft did development on. Anyway. We focus on green, but there's blue and gold elsewhere. That seems pretty important. We got Xenoblade 1, we got Cross Zone, we got Xenoblade X. And then, we move on again. Yeah, it must be based on Decade of Operation, roughly. Or no! It's Generation! It's based on Generation! I am so stupid! Yeah, because we got PS2, GameCube, PS2, I think also PS2, GameCube, and then I skipped Saga 3 in there. Yeah. PS2 again. Then DS, Wii, 3DS, Wii U. They combined DS, Wii, 3DS, and Wii U together, which, like, I guess the Wii U is the shortened generation, so that makes sense. And handhelds are on their own different timer. Then we move on to the Switch, the modern world. And here's Xenoblade 2. Just some big scenes from that. Then we do have a very small stuff from Torna, so Torna is counted separately. And we got DE, but these are still just base game scenes. There is no future connected content anywhere in here for some reason, and I don't know why, but I think it's extremely funny. Then, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 comes in. Got all the stuff from that. That is a very good scene to swap over on. And Future Redeemed is given its own bubble. Just because it was not released as a separate physical game like Torna was, does not mean Future Redeemed is not a full entry in the Xeno series, apparently. I like counting Future Connected in this kind of thing still, but Monolith does not seem to count it as anything anymore. Doesn't matter if we fail over Xeno being brought full circle, specifically in the amount of references just in Niall's alpha outfit. Can you see I'm getting emotional about this? Good lord. This looks like the ending of Xenoblade 3. The funny space where Zed gets blown up and N and M have their thing. This is also a Xenosaga reference. I will not elaborate more. If you know, you know, and you are freaking out right now. But we can see that what this all was, all of these memories were motes of light being raised by Noah and Mio, playing each other's flutes on what I believe is the outcropping from, like, the ending of Xenoblade 3, the green area where they get to when Origin is restored and all that stuff. Like, the place where, I guess the ending cutscene sort of takes place, but it's the place where all the party is, and then the queens show up behind them and do all that stuff. So, unfortunately, this is brand new animation. Like, this is a pre-rendered animation using everyone's models from Xenoblade 3, but they do not appear to, like, actually be playing their flutes along with Future Awaits, which makes sense because the Noah and Mio flutes just aren't in Future Awaits. That is a completely different instrument, and they're not playing along. Presumably they're doing their off-seer tune, but we're hearing Future Awaits. Anyway, though, we have a light. This is a light blue light, so it does not match Keves and Agnes. And, like, obviously I was being coy about it before. There's the green bubbles that represent Monolith soft games, and then there's also just regular Keves and Agnes light modes. But Mio is surprised by this, and we can see even more. We got Xenoblade X there. That's Torna. That is Cosmos version 3, I want to say. So that's early Xenosaga 3. That is the Wii version of Xenoblade 1. That is definitely Wii Alvis. That is Xenosaga 1. That looks like Disaster. I cannot tell what that is in the lower right-hand corner. Might be Saga 2. It might be something else. That's the ending of Saga 1. That's Reiji again. I don't know if that's Cross Capcom or Cross Zone 2. That looks like Baten Kaito's Origins at the bottom there. Maybe. I'm not sure. That might have been... It looked like a character I saw in the Origin segment from before. That's my only train of thought there. That's Saga 2. That's X, obviously. That might be Baten Kaito's 1. There we go. There's Future Connected. We got the one shot there. On the left is Jin talking to Azurta, so that's probably Torna. Then this is... It looks like Rex doing some awakening. Okay, Matthew's there, so that's Future Redeemed. Alright, the begin... it looks like we do have multiple clips there, because that's Rex showing up in Future Redeemed, and then that's the ending of Future Redeemed. And there's Malos doing something from a different scene in Torna. Okay, we get one bubble of Future Connected. There's your FC content for the entire thing. And these fade away, and we can see that everyone is here, and everyone's here representing their happy endings. So, go back to Noah and Mio. That's a nice look. I'm glad Noah and Mio look at each other like that. You can sort of see it on Mio, but it's more obvious on Noah. Their term markers aren't present. So this Noah and Mio, they're not just in the place where they are at the end of Xenoblade 3, they're in the state they are at the end of Xenoblade 3. This is a Noah and Mio that have been completely removed from the Ionio cycle in its entirety. They can live out their full lives now. So this could just be an alternate take. Obviously, there's no, like, actual story behind this. This is just a neat thing based on Xenoblade 3. But this could just be an alternate take on the actual scene that takes place in this location at the end of 3. Or this could be representative of the Noah and Mio back in the combined world having grown up and found each other again. And I think there's a compelling an interpretation of that because of what we see next. We got some other Xeno characters. You might notice, these models are just ripped from other games, so like, they didn't pull out Xenoblade 3 models of Pyra and Mithra here out of nowhere. But you'll see here, separate Pyra and Mithra, complete core crystals, Rex with no core crystal. These are also from the end of Xenoblade 2. Obviously, we can't really say anything about Elma here. They're not going to do spoiler design Elma because this is the only current gen model they have of her. So they're just going to take it directly from Xenoblade 2. And you can see by how kind of rough some of her textures look. Elma's Xenoblade 2 model is just a touched up version of her Xenoblade X model, besides the head, which was completely remade. So, this is a 2015 model that still looks surprisingly good with Xenoblade 3 pre-rendered assets. And just all this stuff. So that's actually nice. And I am glad they're still acknowledging X, even if it is not in the same continuity as the other trilogy. Also, they did not animate her smiling for some reason, which is weird because her model is reasonably expressive in 2, just not as much as the main characters. Like, Shulk and Fiora are smiling. Why isn't Elma smiling? Everyone here is at least in a neutral to happy expression. Elma's just like, kind of there. Anyway. I think these characters are all taken from like the ending cutscene of their respective game, because this isn't future connected. We have Shulk in his regular outfit, but we have short hair Fiora in her Hom's form. So this is everyone getting their happy ending. And as you saw, I will always be here right beside you, as it shows Cosmos. She is still here. She's not gone anywhere. As long as we wish it, Cosmos will come back. She's coming back. Also, it is really funny. I don't know why they didn't put Cosmos, like, because Elma should be, like, back here in the middle, because she's from Xenoblade X. That's its own unique entry in the series that's not tied to any of these three directly. So she should be on her own here, even if she's using a model from Xenoblade 2. Cosmos, who is from a completely different IP, but this model is her specific cameo design in Xenoblade 2. She should be the one next to Mithra here. Put Elma in the middle. Don't imply that Elma is part of Xenoblade 2 and Cosmos is part of Xenoblade 1 somehow. Anyway, we got Elma has an M in her name, who's next to Noah, and Mithra. No, there's not another NM thing here, unfortunately. And even this scene, just another ball, another orb of possibility in the vast universe of what Monolith Soft creates. And all of these come together to form into the golden Zohar colored, even Zohar textured, by the way, Xenosaga specifically, so Monolith Soft logo. And we get a little flash, or it cuts to like just the generic logo of this screen, which is at the end of every Xenoblade game since I believe base 2. If not that, then Torna. And this is the screen that makes you cry and yell at Tetsuya Takahashi every time. And then this last sentence, I know the katakana just says Gemu. I am going to throw a lens over the kanji, but other than that, I am going to try to remember the translation I saw. Okay, this machine translates to pioneering the future of gaming, which, yeah, that's about accurate for Monolith Soft. That's pretty on point with what the other translation said, so I'm going to just believe that. And yeah, happy 25th anniversary, Monolith Soft. This appears to be credits for Future Awaits itself, because that says Future Awaits, that says vocal Joanne Hogg, and I'm assuming that these are just credits for different people who worked on it. You know what? Why not? We'll just throw the Google lens over this as well. I'm already this far. Composition and arrangement. Yasunori Mitsuda is the first one. Second one is lyrics Tetsuya Takahashi, and then the third one is, I'm assuming, it also says lyrics Risa Gonomoto. I'm assuming that is Takahashi writing the Japanese lyrics, and then this person translated them into English, and then Joanne Hogg sang it. Then Septima Lay is, I don't remember if it's the parent company or the distributor that Mitsuda's studio Procyon uses. And then apparently, I'm not even apparently, this is obvious, because from a Xenoblade 3 thing, it's also copyright Nintendo Monolith Soft. Then, once again, in case you didn't know, Xenosaga is still held in copyright by Bandai Namco. And then, again, Baten Kaitos, trademark, all of that stuff. Then, that says Somabringer, copyright 2008 Nintendo Monolith Soft. Disaster Day of Crisis 2008, only Nintendo, which is very funny. Then that says Xenoblade Series, copyright Nintendo Monolith Soft. And I do not know what the last one is. I'm going to look that up again. Production Tool Corporation, Zeleo Company Limited. So I'm assuming that is either whoever they outsourced this movie to, or where they got the animation software from, and not... I'm assuming a Monolith employee made this, because this is clearly made out of so much love for Monolith that it doesn't make sense for them to have not done this. And, like, this... They have to have at least done the stuff made with Xenoblade 3 assets in-house. Like, maybe they got someone else to do this stuff, but, like, that's a space background that I've seen Monolith do themselves before. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, though, you might have been able to tell that I was trying very hard not to get choked up during this, for very good reason. I love Monolith Soft's games. I can't wait for the next game they come out with. We're gonna see it really soon. We are very likely to see a Monolith Soft project in the Switch 2 reveal presentation. And you know how excited that has me. And you know I'm gonna be there frame one to start analyzing it. If I was able to talk about just a celebration for this long, imagine what it's gonna be like when another game comes out. Until next time, this is Luxon, signing off.